People are coming to visit Adam's grave. And my wife and I are very happy for you to do that. So I thought I would make a quick video here explaining how you get to his gravesite. We're traveling eastbound out of St. Cloud on 10th Street and return left on Rosedale Boulevard. Or Rosedale Avenue, I guess it is. Rosedale Avenue. And you travel along on the side over here. You see the graveside, the graveyard is east on the right-hand side of you, going down the road. You drive up to section, gotta find it first. Section K. And looks like they have some work going on here. And I'm gonna have to back out. Okay, I made it around the work crew. And I pulled into the Section K. And while they're busy working over there, preparing another grave site, I'm standing here at Adam's grave and pulled into Section K, drove down about 3 trees. There's a row of trees. And on your left, over near the next row of cypress trees there, that's where you'll find Adam's grave. Now, this is the first time that I've been to the grave alone since we laid Adam to rest. I come here today not to talk to Adam. I didn't come to talk to Adam. Adam isn't here. His body's here, and we buried him back in January the 6th. Adam is not here. Just his body. So I have not come to talk to Adam. I've come to remember Adam. You ever wonder why people go to grave sites? You see movies where people go to grave sites and talk to the gravestone, right? People come, and I come today, to remember Adam. To remember his character, his creativity, his successes, his failures. Adam had failures too. But he was our son. He deeply loved us, and we deeply loved him. And while the Lord is merciful, has been merciful for us and given us much comfort and has eased much of the pain, it's still hard. We still cry. And you probably do too, because in the years of Adam's ventures and journeys and videos and so forth, you spent more time with him than I did. So I can imagine the hurt that you're feeling as well. I think about the Bible that tells us of many burials that happened throughout redemptive history. Abraham, Sarah, his wife, Jacob, Joseph, and of course, ultimately, the ultimate descendant of Abraham was, but Jesus also, we're told about his burial. Jesus was buried in a borrowed tomb after he was crucified. But unlike Adam's body here, the body of Jesus was raised from the dead by the glory of the Father. And while we are grieving, while I am grieving, my wife, our daughter, her husband, the loss of Adam, and you, the loss of Adam, I rest in the hope of the resurrection. And that hope of the resurrection exists because Jesus, though he was buried after he was crucified, he rose from the dead, defeated death and the grave. So there's my hope. I have never seen that before. I've never seen that before. I'm sure that's for cremation remains, but I've just never seen a little building like that before. It kind of reminds me of these communal mailboxes. No respect intended, I'm just saying. That's what it reminds me of. Did I say no respect intended? I meant no disrespect intended. Duh. Trash pickup day. Got all the trash things out on the side of the road to be picked up. Yes, yes. Made it down to the east end of the walking path, walking, riding, biking, skating path along the lakefront. This is called Lake Shore Boulevard. And at the end, we have a pavilion. And then we have some benches, or a bench. Got a place for bicycles to park over there. And got some places for cars to park over here also. Now this is the end of a biking path that runs all the way There's a dilapidated ancient vehicle, the loud one there. This walking path goes approximately 2.1 miles all the way along the lakefront. This is called Lakefront Park here in St. Cloud, Florida. I thought I'd just stop here and we can talk for a few minutes. Then I want to go down and show you what's along the lakefront. Out there on the horizon, you can see past that foliage is the lake. You can see a small strip of the blue lake there. And then here you have what's called a marina basin. This work was done several years ago. It was implemented to prevent flooding. Stories I heard back years ago, before this basin was built, there would be massive flooding way into the town, all the way up 4, 5, 6, 7 streets in that direction. Then they redesigned the front of the lake, created this basin which runs all along the lakefront, and that stopped the problem of the flooding. Now on that side is a dirt walking path. See the bridge that goes over the little opening there? This basin goes all the way down to the beach area and it stops. It has 2 fountains. See if I can get a close-up of that fountain down there. Best I can do for the moment. 2 fountains. And then you have the beach area, which has a little children playground along with picnic tables. And there's a little bitty water, not a water park exactly, but water things in the children's area to play. And then there's a restaurant down there, Krabby Bill's. Get a picture of that shortly. Then there's a second basin on the other side that goes down, and then there's a break in that basin, and then a third basin, I guess, goes down to the very west end of the walking path. 2.1 miles is the estimated length from what I can find. Welcome everyone. Jim Williams here, JWW on the Move. Coming to you from the beautiful paradise of Central Florida. Today is Monday, February 9th, 2026. We're down at the Lakefront in St. Cloud, Florida, Lakefront Park, which we're going to go down shortly and look at some items that you will find at the Lakefront Park. Many of you in the local area maybe have been here, or maybe you want to come here. Others of you that travel to Florida, you may have an interest in coming down to our little community, which now, wow, is becoming more a metropolis than it is a little community. It used to be a sleepy little village. Not anymore, not anymore. And we'd love for you to come visit, absolutely. I was thinking of something this morning. I am not a dog person. I've never actually owned dogs. I've had dogs, but I've never owned dogs. But we are house sitting a dog right now for a little while. And that is the cutest little thing. That is the cutest little dog. And I'm just, I guess it's just so cute. Quiet, doesn't bother anybody, just snuggles up to you, you know, and all of that. I still don't want a dog though, but I'm just saying that the dog is really cute. But what I got to thinking about this morning was how silly we talk to dogs, especially little dogs, little chihuahuas and little poodles and little dachshunds, things like that. For example, we say, "Good morning, good morning." Who talks like that? Who talks like that? Good morning, good morning. How you doing? How you doing? Did you sleep okay? Did you sleep okay? How silly is that? How crazy is that? And notice, you always say it twice. Did you sleep okay? Did you sleep okay? Why do we do that? That's crazy, isn't it? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Ready to eat? Ready to eat? It's crazy how we talk to little dogs. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Oh, gosh. I'm sorry. Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. One of the things you'll see on Lakeshore Boulevard at the lakefront is this massive live oak tree. The one covered in moss there. What's really unique about it is this lower branch here. The lower branch that comes out from the tree, winds around, goes down into the ground, and then comes up again on the other side of the yard. Let me get over here so I can get a better picture of it. Coming out of the tree, down into the ground, and then coming up out of the ground again. There's a limb over here. Somebody put a little bench, a swing bench there, where that goes down into the ground. How cool is that? There's a parking lot here at the beach there. I guess I better put my seatbelt on. As you can see, there's activity places down there. There's a volleyball net down on the beach. And we have areas for picnicking over here, all the way down the lakefront. There are several pavilions and benches. Just bumped my head there for picnicking and gathering, birthday parties, and so forth and so on. Notice all these oak trees, massive oak trees down here, and all the moss, Spanish moss, and the palm trees. Look at palm trees, look at there, and square bushes. Now, who can't get excited about square bushes? All these shady areas here. Spanish moss. Don't be crawling around and sleeping in the Spanish moss now, because they got all kinds of bugs and stuff you don't want getting on you. There's some people playing pickleball, I think that's what that is. I've never understood how you could use a pickle for a ball, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. There's a playground down here as well. Restroom areas over there. There's another parking lot. This is a parking lot for the restaurant called Krabby Bill's. Actually, the sign says Krabby's on the lakefront, but the locals call it Krabby Bill's. I don't even know why it's called Krabby Bill's. Maybe because Bill is the guy who started the restaurant and he's pretty crabby, maybe? I'm not sure. I don't know the man myself. Krabby Bill's. Stay away from the Spanish moss. The backside of Krabby Bill's is a outside eating area. They often have live entertainment out there on the weekends. Next we have a marina for those people who have boats. And what do you call it when they park the boats somewhere? Do they store the boats? They park the boats? What's the word they use? I don't know the nautical term for parking a boat. If you look close enough on the horizon, you can see some of the skyline of Orlando way back in the distance there. Looks like there's a parade coming up on the 14th. Must be a Valentine parade. Park bench. Why is the park bench green? St. Cloud has its own lakefront cruise boat. They go out for dinner cruises, I think. They have daytime excursions as well. I actually haven't seen a schedule. That's relatively new. It existed previously, and then something happened with the owner. Some legal stuff happened with the owner, and someone else bought it over, and now they still have it reopened again. They have it operational again. June and some friends were planning for us to have a dinner cruise ride in the evening on that boat. And then sadly our son passed away, and that interrupted those plans. But we'll do that again sometime. There goes a fishing boat back out behind it. Old Florida Riverboat Company, it says on the side of the boat there. So I guess you do call it a riverboat, even though it's not on a river, it's on a lake. We'll debate that for years, I'm sure. What is that clicking noise? That's my four-way flashers. I don't want to get run over. We also have this massive park area. Notice it's outlined on the backside there by those cypress trees. And then they have a covering here along the grassy stuff. And then they have a stage that they use when they have programs and gatherings to meet. There's a stage there. I've seen them have all kind of things out here. Exercise programs, speeches, big parties, festivals and stuff, political speeches. And there's an American flag up there somewhere. I imagine that second pole is for the Florida flag, although I can't see it through the palm trees. Yep. There was a group back several years ago used to have prayer time out here at the flag every Saturday. There's a parking area for that park. Parking area for the park. There's that seatbelt thingy again. Gotta put the seatbelt on. Oh, look! Look at all of these birds! Look at these birds! Hitchcock would be proud. It's really amazing when you think about it. For a large segment of the population, Adam created a whole new language. Every time I see a bunch of birds, I suddenly have this urge, uncontrollable urge to say, Hitchcock would be proud. This is another one of those marina basins to prevent flooding on the, this is past the beach now. We're going westbound on the Lakeshore Boulevard. Oh, look, a loving couple walking along the walkway. Each of these marina basins has 2 fountains as you go down. Then this basin is split here to create a 3rd basin here. Look at there, people using the path for the purpose it was built. Walking, that's why they call it a walking path. Look at there. That's called a sandhill crane. Sandhill crane. Walking around like he owns the place, know what I mean? Well, we made it to the west end of the Lakefront Park walkway. Bikeway, runway, some kind of way. The path, there you go, the walking path. We're on the west end, another pavilion. And this, I believe we started at Mississippi Avenue. For those of you that are cognizant of the city of St. Cloud, that's Mississippi Avenue. Or if you're going to come here someday and want to know where we're looking at, that was Mississippi Avenue on that end, and Louisiana Avenue is right over here where I am now. Louisiana Avenue here, all the way down 2.1 miles to Mississippi Avenue. And that's going to do it for today. Thanks for joining me. I'm grateful for you coming along. I appreciate you following my channel. You met me because of my son, Adam. Years ago, back in 2011, I think is when I first posted my first video. And I started that because of Adam. So you met me slowly through Adam. For 5 years or so, I've published videos, produced videos, and often I would appear on his videos. And when I appeared on his videos, my subscription base grew. And I am grateful for that. I don't know how many of you were with me because of that from years ago. I made videos for about 5 years, and then that's because I was a truck driver. That's hence the name. The name JWW on the Move is because I was driving a truck every day, 7 days a week. So I left trucking, and I tried to keep some semblance of videos going, but I didn't really have a concept of that at the time. And so I, like most things that you don't really intentionally give your attention to, it petered out. Petered out. That is an interesting phrase. Where'd that word come from? Petered out. Doesn't matter. The fact is that I stopped making videos. Last video I made, I think, was, 7, 8 years ago. I'd have to look again. I forgot when it was. Until, of course, Adam suddenly died. He was found dead, passed away, taken from us. And suddenly, all of this attention from all of you who love Adam turned to me. You turned to me to show your love, your comforting spirit, your prayers, your condolences, your sympathy. You embraced us, metaphorically embraced us in your love that you had for him. We are so grateful for that. I can't think of enough words to say how meaningful that is to us, me, June, Faith, and Ryan. That's because you're special people. And you treat us so special. Thank you. Thank you for that. There's just really not enough words to say thank you. But that revived my idea of making videos. You've heard me say, and I'll say it again, I have learned more about Adam since December the 22nd than I had in 51 years of his life. I mean, obviously, I knew all about Adam when he was a kid. I knew all about Adam as he was growing up as a teenager, but then he left home. I didn't watch him every day like you did. You watched him every day. Sadly, I didn't watch his video every day. In retrospect, in regret, I wish I had now. But now I get to. Now, as long as the Lord gives me life, now I get to watch his videos and I learn more and more about my son. I'm rambling like an old man, and I apologize for that. The point I simply want to make is, he has inspired me to revive my channel and start making videos again. Now, that's why I put out that chronological history of that 10-day road trip that he and I made. Because I told him I was going to do that. The last day, if you watch that last video, when we're sitting at the picnic table there at the Florida rest area, that's what I told him. I said, I'm going to do that. Well, I never did. Duh. So now it's done. Now the question is, what is JWW going to do now? You see, it is right and it's natural that all of us have been focusing on Adam. The trend has been Adam the Woo. Everything you see on YouTube for quite a long time now has been about Adam the Woo. Everyone has seized this opportunity, if you will, to capture the power of that name and utilize it. That's what's happening now. That's why you're watching me. You're watching me because of Adam. And I understand that. But now, you see, there's coming a time eventually where I can't rely on Adam's name anymore. Know what I mean? Now, I have to start producing content that attracts you, that you want to hear about, that you want to see. And that's my challenge. So I want to thank you for watching me thus far. I hope that you will continue to do so, and I hope that I can, through my activities, I'll be able to keep your attention. Just remember this: I am not Adam. Adam was younger than me. He had more energy than me. I am older. I mean, I'm not as healthy as Adam was. I have a lot of things wrong with me. I don't move as well as I used to. All of those things. All those things that would be a disadvantage for an old man. And yet, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do as best I can to fulfill some things in my life, to try to give meaning and goodness in your life. If you'll just give me some time, and I'm sure you've noticed some glitches in the videos. I'm got to get those worked out too. Oh my goodness, how embarrassing it is. But if you'll patiently continue watching, then I will do my best to lift you up and to put goodness out into your life. And let's see what happens. Thanks for watching. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend. Goodbye. While I was sitting at the pavilion there doing my closing monologue, a gentleman rode up. His name was Ron. Rode in on a bicycle, a roadster bicycle. And that's how he told me to remember his name, Ron riding a roadster. Nice gentleman, 77 years old, rides a bike, doesn't have a car. Decided at some point about 11 years ago, he said, I'm going to learn how to live on a bus, he said. And so he rides his bike. These buses here in Florida, at least here in this area, have a bike rack on the front. So he rides to a bus stop, puts his bicycle on the bus. The bus and him and the bike go wherever he's going. And that's the way he travels. And he has lost about 50 pounds in 11 years, just inches at a time. Very healthy man. Of course, compared to me, well, anyway. Want to buy a motorcycle with a sidecar? There you go. A yellow chair on a pole with a yellow car in the yard. Huh. Driving away from the lakefront, I remembered a mural that's painted on a building at the corner of Pennsylvania Avenue and 10th Street, downtown St. Cloud, reminiscing about the early days of the 20th century, early 20th century. The beachfront area, a recreational and entertainment area, was called Joyland Beach. Joyland Beach, and this mural depicts what it looked like in 1929, the beachfront in St. Cloud, Florida. I don't know if that is a rendition of the building that now houses Krabby Bill or not, but you'll notice, if you'll look closely, you'll notice that that building is built up on stilts. That's what those poles from the building down to the beach are called, stilts. And the reason they built stilts on buildings in Florida back in that era is because of the flooding, when storms would come and so forth and so on. And I mentioned to you about the flooding of the beachfront back earlier when we were down there. So 1929, that is a 1929 beach ball, a 1929 dog, and 3 1929 women. And that is the Florida state flag on top of the building.
Wow. great.